Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Today we are checking in on my first week of the Every Bit Counts challenge. I am really excited to share with you some of the things that I've been working on this week. It's been more of just kind of a little bit here and a little bit there. I haven't had any really big projects this past week. And I think one of the things I learned, I think especially because I'm more mindful of it with the challenge, is that every little bit does count and it really adds up pretty quickly. We're coming to the end of berry season, and so we've got just maybe a few more pickings left on Marionberries and blueberries. And so I've been putting that away on various days this week. There aren't a lot that we're getting picked at one time, but just the amount that I have and what I'm able to put away, it's a quart bag here and a quart bag there. So I've been really excited about that. Blueberries, we're kind of coming to the end of the season on those, but again, same sort of a thing. Now, I could do a lot of different things with the berries. I could be making some jam out of them. I could be canning them. The reason I'm opting to freeze them is that I love using frozen Marionberries, raspberries, strawberries. I love putting those in smoothies. And it's kind of great, especially with back to school, either to use as a breakfast in the morning, or sometimes I'll use it as a snack. I'll add some spinach or kale to it. Sometimes I'll add a little protein powder, and it just makes a great smoothie. The other thing that I've been doing with the frozen berries, including the blueberries, is I've taken some of the yogurt, put some granola on top, and then top it with a few of the frozen berries. And it's just, again, a delicious breakfast, really easy to work with. Frozen blueberries make great blueberry muffins. Just so many things that you can do with them, but I like the versatility of having them in the freezer and the different things that I might opt to do with them, given that they're just quick. I can use a few and then put back what I'm not using. So that's why I opted to go ahead and freeze the berries that we have remaining versus making another jam or something like that. Jams are great, but I just don't use a ton of it, and I already have some on the shelf, so I'm not too worried about making jam with what I had there. I had opportunity to harvest some of the herbs from the herb bed. That was a big project this year that I put together, and I'll leave a link to putting that herb bed together. But I'm still trying to kind of figure out how I'm going to be using the herbs and exactly how to harvest those and then what I'm going to do with them afterwards. So we had quite a few calendula blooms that were ready to harvest, and I went ahead and picked those off and set those into, it's a pretty warm greenhouse, and let those air dry. So I'm gonna see if they're about ready, or if I end up needing to pop them in the dehydrator for just a little bit of time, I can do that. And then I also harvested some sage and some tarragon, and then just hung those in bundles and put them into that greenhouse as well to go ahead and dry. So I'm really excited about that as well. And then I'll kind of see how I can put those together in some type of a seasoning mix that I can use for foods in the future. The other thing that came on pretty strong this week was green beans. We have a beautiful harvest of green beans. These came from really just a few plants, and I'm going to make a green bean salad with some of the cherry tomatoes and about a pound of these beans. And then if I have some left, I think I'm going to go ahead and blanch them and throw them in the freezer. Delicious, fresh looking salad. Another lesson that I've been learning as I've been going through the challenge this week is that we want to make sure that in our efforts to preserve everything and make sure that we have things for the future, that we are also taking time to enjoy the fresh food while we have it here from the garden. So I harvested a pretty large container of green beans, and I made a green bean salad with them, and I'll link the recipe down below where I got that from. And it was really good. So good, in fact, that we decided to go ahead and make that a second time, which didn't leave as many beans left over. I already have some canned green beans, so I opted to just take that little bit that was left over. It wasn't a lot. I went ahead and blanched those for about 2 minutes and popped those into a food saver bag that I was able to freeze. Now, that's not a large amount. However, it still is a great amount and counts towards having that for the future. I can pop this into stir fries, or sometimes I just like to add a few crunchy beans to a green salad, and that really is a nice addition, adds a little bit of texture, a little different flavor. So I've got some options here, and it doesn't have to be a large amount. But I did have to remind myself that the whole goal was not to take all of my fresh green beans and put them away in the freezer or a jar, but also to enjoy them. This is the season when we have that fresh food available, and so use what we need for our fresh food, and then it's okay to just take what's left. It might not be a lot, but as we've been saying in this challenge, every bit counts. So I can take what's left and store that away, and it will be the perfect amount for something in the future. So this week, most of my preservation revolved around freezing or dehydrating items. I'm really excited to get into next week. I've got a lot of big projects coming up next week. Yesterday, I got a whole bunch of fruit purchased. So we've got nectarines, peaches, apricots, and all of that needs to be processed pretty much yesterday. You know, it needs to be processed right now. So I've got some big projects coming up for the future week. We're gonna do some canning as well as dehydrating, and who knows what the rest of the week will bring. I know we've got some other new things coming into season in the garden as well. So I can't wait to keep you updated with some of those developments as well. I hope you've had a great, productive week. Let me know in the comments down below, what are some things that you have been working on? I know that you're all so busy right now trying to harvest everything and get that put up and preserved. Maybe share some of your big aha moments or just some of the preservation that you've been doing this week. And I hope you find this encouraging to persevere through into the next week. I can't wait to see you back here next time for an update. If this video was helpful, don't forget to click like. If you haven't already, we'd love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here at Blooming Wildwood Homestead, where every week I bring you videos on the garden, harvesting and preserving your harvest from the garden, and using those things from the pantry. Until next time, bye everyone.